Sato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om, sarvadharma sthapakasvam sarvadharma swarupaka acharyanam mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swami Netapahare. Namaskar and good evening.
Good evening.
Today I've selected a very interesting but rather technical topic in Vedanta. 2 steps to Advaita, that was the subject, 2 steps to non-duality. You see, let me put it this way. This subject concerns Advaita Vedanta basically. There is a certain secret, let us say rahasya, secret about Advaita Vedanta which needs to be understood. This secret concerns the technique of Advaita Vedanta, the methodology of Advaita Vedanta. This has to be understood or grasped. Otherwise, it leads to endless confusion. Confusion, like, let me put this to you, this question. This is the question, the confusion, and the answer we hope to find today. When you hear about Advaita, we are again and again told, I'm not the body, not the mind. You are Brahman, you are Satchidananda, not body, not mind. We hear Shankaracharya's beautiful Nirvana Shatakam, Mano buddhyahankara chittanina. I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not the memory, I am not even the ego. It's how interesting, I am not even I. Ego is the I sense. I am not I also. And then only you say, Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. Now, the confusion is this, the question is this, we are talking about, today's subject is that there is a lot of confusion generated by not knowing one secret about the methodology of Advaita. That methodology I want to introduce today. I'm first stating what is the problem, and the rest of the thing will be an answer to the problem. The problem is this. So when you hear all this, you say, okay, I am not body and mind, I am something called Atman, Brahman. Next you hear Brahman is everything. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. So Brahman is non-dual. Other than Brahman, there is nothing else. Brahman is everything. You hear such things again. Which is correct because Advaita is non-duality. So if Brahman is non-dual, there should not be anything else apart from Brahman. Non-dual means not two. Brahman is the only reality. Now see, put these two together. I said, I am not body and mind. I am not the Panchakosha, not the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, the 5 dimensions of the human personality. I am not them. I am something apart from them, distinct from them. And next I am saying I am everything. Brahman is everything. Then which is it? Do you see the problem? If you study Vedanta closely, very soon you will come up with this question. What are you saying? Are you saying that there is a Atman, Brahman separate from everything? Or are you saying it is everything? If you say it is everything, then you cannot say something like I am not the body, not the mind. Then I must be the body and mind also. Yes, I am Brahman, but I am also body and mind. Not only that, I am everything else. Is that the teaching? Or is it the teaching that I am, we use the term Sakshi, witness consciousness. Witness is naturally apart from everything. that which stands apart and experiences, sees, that is called witness. So if you are apart from everything, then the problem will be, it cannot be Advaita, cannot be non-dual, because there are so many things. Witness, mind, body, world, millions of things, billions of entities. What are you teaching? So this is the question, this is the confusion. Some people come to it, you think about it, it is almost one of the first things that you come across is this. And there are related problems, like I remember one young monk, not a monk, I mean he was a young man who had sort of run away from his family and job and all in Allahabad and sitting in the Himalayas in a cave and trying to meditate, and thoroughly confused, thoroughly unhappy. But somehow he liked me, so he used to come and talk about his problems or his questions with me. So one thing he asked me was, he was saying that, so Atman is everywhere. I said, yes, Advaita says that. So I am the Atman, yes. And after that I leave the body and go away. So I am not in the body. But you say Atman is in the body also. After death of the body, after death, in the dead body, is Atman still there or not? Brahman is still there or not?
Yes.
It has to be there. Then what is it that has gone? So it seems strange to say that I leave the body after death. I am not that anymore. And at the same time say that I am that body after death also, before death and after death. So you see how these are related questions, but it all goes back to that source confusion. Confusion about the methodology. So today the talk is about 2 steps to Advaita. There are 2 distinct steps to understanding Advaita Vedanta. This has to be kept in mind. After you know what these 2 steps are, then whenever you come across any Advaitic teaching, any kind of Advaitic teaching, you apply this category. Which step is it? Is it step 1 or step 2? It will become very clear. I will try to make this talk short and concentrated so that we can have more discussion after this. So what are these 2 steps? First of all, the first step is to know what I am really. Step 1. It consists of seeing that what I thought of myself as body-mind, I am not the body-mind. I am this witness consciousness, the Atman. Not the body-mind, not any object. The pure self, witness consciousness, pure consciousness, whatever you call it. Chit, Chaitanya, Atman, Sakshi, whatever you call it. I am that, not body and mind. Certainly separate from the world, separate from the body, separate from the mind. I am something, this separate reality that I am. This is step 1. Step 2 is to see then everything else, what I separated myself from, mind, body, world, they are nothing other than expressions of that one reality. They are not separate, independent realities at all. It is that one reality which I discovered within, which I call the Sakshi, that itself is appearing in all these forms. Let me give 2 quick examples. One is the example which we used yesterday, the gold and the ornaments example. If somebody does not understand what gold is, then you have to show that there is something called gold quite distinct from necklace and bracelet and ring and other ornaments. Gold is not an ornament. So at that step 1, you have to show what is gold. Gold is the reality which is not an ornament. It's not a necklace, it's not a bracelet, it's not a ring. It's their inner reality. It's the substance out of which these things are made, but it's not an ornament. Not this you have to do. Step 1. Once the person understands what gold is, then the next step will be, all these ornaments which you said gold is apart from them, they are also nothing but gold. You merge the gold back into the ornaments. Second step. So first step is discover the reality. You tell them that the ornament in itself is not the reality. There is a deeper reality behind it, the substance out of which it is made. The ornament is a form, a name, a particular use, nama rupa vyavahara. The material out of which it is made is gold. That is step 1. But step 2, you have to also merge the ornaments back into the gold. Show that it is one reality, it's not two realities. Not that there is something called ornament and something else called gold. What was gained by this? It was one reality, and you have ended up with one reality. But earlier you had necklace drishti. Now you have gold drishti.
Perfect.
Advantage? This, you see the same gold in the necklace and the bracelet and the ring. Earlier, if you thought necklace is the reality, then you will say necklace is different from bracelet. Bracelet is different from the ring. But now you know it is the same gold, which earlier was a necklace, now it has been made into a bracelet, now it has been made into a ring. You know it's the same thing. Though it looks different and you use different names and you use it differently, in the same way entire world, first step is to find out the reality behind it, and you do it for yourself first, within yourself. That there is a reality quite apart from what I thought it was. Right now I think I am this necklace, that is body-mind. Investigate, step 1, and you find Satchidananda, equivalent to the gold there. Next, body, mind and all other bodies and minds and all everything that you see in the world is nothing other than that Satchidananda. That is step 2. Okay, this is one example. Step 1, step 2. Another example could be our dreams. I am walking around in Central Park talking to people, looking at the trees and the lake and sky and the buildings and all. And then I wake up and I realize I was not at all there. It's all different from me. I am apart from it. I am this reality apart from that. Step 1. Realizing that I am not that one in the dream. My independent existence apart from that dream. Second, all that I saw was nothing but me. I alone appeared as Central Park, as that person there, all the persons there, and the sky, and the sidewalks, and the lake, all of that. Step 2. Okay? I'm giving on purpose slightly different examples so that you grasp the principle behind it. Don't get caught in the details. So 2 steps. One step is to extract the reality from the appearance. Second step is to merge the appearance back into the reality. So you have Advaita, non-duality. Okay. Do you see, in the first step, Advaita is not established. In the first step, you have separation. That's still Dvaita, still duality. In the second step only, when you complete it, then Advaita is established. Because everything, when you say gold is apart from, gold is the reality, it is apart from, gold is different from necklace, bracelet and ring. You have duality actually.
Yes.
Only when next you say the necklace, bracelet and ring are nothing apart from gold. Second, they are all ornaments made of gold.
Everything.
Right? Then you have non-duality. How many things are there now? Only one thing. Gold only. But as expressed as necklace, bracelet and ring. You see, even if you look at Swami Vivekananda, he presented Vedanta in a modern idiom in his own invigorating, unique fashion. He said, he taught only 2 things actually. Divinity within, and tell me, and the oneness of all existence. Can you link now? What did he say? My only mission is in life is to preach unto mankind their inner divinity, how to make it manifest in life, and the oneness of all existence. 2 things. This inner divinity. Can you see the 2 steps now? To preach unto humanity, unto mankind in humanity their inner divinity. That is step 1. Not body, not mind, I am Satchidananda. So why not stop there? But then what happens is that many questions will remain. How many inner divinities are there? And what about the rest of the world? I have an inner divinity. Then what about body, mind, this life in the world? All of that is separate from the divinity? Or is it the expression of the same divinity? So he says, next, oneness of the universe. So that's where Advaita is accomplished, non-duality. It is one divinity in everybody. And also the bodies, minds and the external material nature, they are nothing but that one divinity. Just as the ornaments are nothing but gold. Do you see the two steps? In different language. I'm on purpose, I'm giving it in different ways. As classical Advaita would put it. As Swami Vivekananda taught it here. 2 steps. And you can extend it even further. Make it a general, see in mathematics you do start with a specific case and then make it a generalization. Make it a generalization for all spirituality. Basically in spirituality, you take 2 steps. One is, you find God, enlightenment, nirvana, whatever you call it, in any religion, any path. Isn't it? Step 1, you must do that. Become enlightened, find God, devotion, bhakti, samadhi, whatever you call it. Second is, you must apply it, bring it back to live your life in this world. That is, in some sense, you must link your spirituality to this world also. As somebody put it, you must not only go away, you must come back also. Or as I said, the Buddhist teacher said, after the ecstasy, the laundry. The laundry also must become ecstatic. Otherwise, you'll have 2 lives. One is secular life and one is spiritual life. So, Advaita, non-duality, is established when you can spiritualize the whole of life. So, this is the background. These are the 2 steps. I've given you the 2 steps in capsule form. Now, one of the texts that we studied in the Vedanta Society in New York recently is Aparoksha Anubhuti. There, these 2 steps are very cleanly demarcated. Shankaracharya actually points out what is the problem of stopping with the first step. So what are the 2 steps? First, discovering what you are, and then second, establishing non-duality. Discovering what you are, separate from everything else. Atman in itself, and then integrating everything else back into the Atman, or merging everything else back into the Atman. Another point I want to make here. In classical Vedanta, traditional Advaita Vedanta, the whole thing is expressed by the Mahavakya, Tat Tvamasi, that thou art. Later, if I have time, I will dwell a little more on this. That thou art. It's a sentence. And to understand the sentence, you need to understand the meaning of the words. Alright? What are the words? Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art. That and thou, these are the 2 important words. What does that mean? We keep saying that thou art, but what is that? That I don't know. Remember, it is taken from Chandogya Upanishad. Tat means Sat. Pure existence alone was in the beginning. Sadeva Samyedam Agra Asit. Shvetaketu's father tells him that. So, that means Brahman. And thou means you, the Jiva, us. You are Brahman. Now, very interestingly, that there actually means Saguna Brahman. In classical Advaita Vedanta, Tat means Saguna Brahman, God, Ishvara, God. And Tvam means Jiva. Right? Why is that? That maintains the symmetry. When you talk about Jiva, you have to talk about Ishvara. Now, how can the 2 be the same? They cannot be the same. There's a whole section in Advaita Vedanta called Mahavakya Artha Vichara. An inquiry into the meaning of the great sentence, Mahavakya. So that's a whole chapter. In any Vedanta text you will see it's taught separately. And the whole issue there is, that stands for God, Ishvara, Saguna Brahman. Tvam, thou, stands for the individual being, Jiva. Jiva and Ishvara cannot be the same. Jiva is being told, you are Ishvara. It cannot be the same. How is it the same? Then how do we get the meaning? There is a process called Lakshana, implied meaning, that they do. I will not go into that, but let me give an example to show what they mean. There is that crystal bowl there, you can see the lotus. Now if you have a red flower behind that crystal, suppose it's a transparent crystal, and you hold a red flower behind the crystal, then you look at the crystal from this side, what will it look like? Red. Red. But is it really red? Does it look red? Yes. It looks red. But is it really red? No. Why does it look red? Because of the proximity of the red flower behind it. Now hold a yellow flower behind it. What will it look like, the crystal? Yellow. Is it really yellow? No. It appears yellow because of the proximity of the yellow flower behind it. Now suppose somebody says, the red crystal is the yellow crystal. Suppose somebody says, the red crystal is yellow crystal. Clearly red crystal and yellow cannot be a yellow crystal. Either it is red or it is yellow. But the fact is it is true, because the crystal is actually colorless. It's actually neither red nor yellow. So when you say red crystal is yellow crystal, what you mean is red and yellow are superimposed. They are not real properties of the crystal. It looks like that. Really the crystal is colorless. Now what do I want to indicate by this example? Pure consciousness, Satchidananda, with the Upadhi. This concept of Upadhi means something which comes near another thing and appears to give its qualities to the other thing. Samipe, Upa means Samipe, coming close. Swiyan Gunan Adatte, which seems to transfer its own qualities to another. So the red flower is an Upadhi for the crystal. It comes near the crystal and seems to make the crystal red, but actually does not. This gives an appearance. Yellow flower is an Upadhi. When it comes near the crystal, it seems to transfer its yellow color to the crystal, but actually it does not. It only seems to. It gives the impression of a yellow crystal. Similarly, pure consciousness with the Upadhi of body and mind, because of the presence of body and mind. Where? In this pure consciousness only. Why is it present? Because of Maya, when the whole story is there. But just say it is present right now. So body and mind appears. And then what happens? The pure consciousness seems to be a jiva now. Because of the presence of body and mind, the pure consciousness nature seems to be not evident anymore. The colorlessness of the crystal is not evident anymore. It looks red. They say Rakta Spatika, red crystal. Though it is completely colorless, it looks totally red because of presence of red flower. So because of the presence of Karana Sharira, Ajnana, we discussed it yesterday, a day before, because of the presence of the Karana Sharira, Ajnana, Turiya appears to be a jiva. One thing. This is the meaning of Tvam, you. Because of the presence of Maya, Turiya appears to be Ishvara. We remember the words we used in Mandukya, Pragya Ishvara.
Yes.
What is Pragya? Turiya only. What is Ishvara? Turiya only. Why this difference? Turiya, Pragya is just a poor little jiva, and Ishvara is the all-powerful creator of the world, the sum total of what Arjuna, difference between Arjuna and Vishwarupa, which he saw. Why such a difference? Ishvara is Sarva Shaktiman, Sarva Vyapi, Sarvagya, and poor jiva is Alpagya, Alpa Shaktiman. So jiva is limited, the individual being is limited, and God is all-powerful, omniscient, almighty. Why this difference? Because of the presence of the two upadhis, just like red flower and yellow flower. Ajnana upadhi and Maya upadhi. Because of the presence, same Turiya appears to be Ishvara in one context and Pragya, the Jiva, in another context. Now if I say the Jiva is Ishvara, just like yellow crystal is red crystal, what do I mean? Jiva is really Turiya, Ishvara is really Turiya, and as Turiya they are one. Though they look different, though the names are different, properties are different, activities are different, powers are different. Are you with me now? Remember red flower and red crystal and yellow crystals. Yes.
Yes.
Similarly, pure consciousness in association with Karana Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Sthula Sharira, Sarvapriyananda. Pure consciousness in association with Maya Upadhi, Saguna Brahmana, Ishwar, God. But same pure consciousness. As pure consciousness, Sarvapriyananda and Ishwara are same. Just as you say, yellow crystal and red crystal are same. Because they are actually not yellow and red.
Crystal.
The crystal only. It is crystal only. Going from Jiva to Turiya, that I am not the body, not the mind. I do avasthatraya vichara. By looking at Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, I realize I am not the person in the Jagrat or the person in the dream or the deep sleeper. I am the Turiya. That is step 1. Doing 2 steps. The next, all of that, waking, dreaming, deep sleep, all the things that you see there, they are nothing other than the appearance of Turiya. Step 2. We did it. Do you see? At each step we did it. In Jagrat we did it, in Swapna we did it, in Sushupti we did it. That same consciousness, Turiya, appears as you the waker and your entire waking world. So from the waker, if you go to Turiya, step 1. But that same Turiya is appearing as waker in the entire waking universe, that is step 2. It establishes Advaita. So 2 steps. Again, I'm saying the same thing in a different way. Whole of Vedanta is nothing other than Mahavakyartha Vichara, the analysis of the Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, or any Mahavakya. And this Mahavakya Vichara has only 2 steps. First of all, you must find out who you are, and then that who you are is actually everything. These are the 2 steps. In a slightly different fashion, in classical Vedanta, it is said, Tvam Padartha Shodhana, Tat Padartha Shodhana. The inquiry into the real nature of who you are, inquiry into the real nature of God, and you end up finding both are the same thing. It is mainstream and very nicely, logically worked out. The philosophy is very neatly laid out. It's primary actually in Advaita Vedanta to grasp this. It's one of the first things that is taught in traditional Advaita Vedanta. But it's not exclusive to Advaita Vedanta. Mystics of all religions, many mystics, not all, but many mystics in different religions have actually come to this realization. The great Christian mystic Meister Eckhart, who is very non-dualistic in medieval Europe, look at the language he uses. The ground of my soul and the ground of God are one and the same. The ground of my soul, my soul, by that he means the jiva basically. The reality of ground means the reality. My reality and God's reality are one and the same. He does not say I am God. But in fact he indicates the exact meaning of Mahavakya, isn't it so? The ground of my soul and the ground of God are one and the same.
Yes.
Right. And there was a Sufi mystic, Muslim, who said, when I searched for Allah, I found myself. When I searched for myself, I found Allah. Again, exactly the same thing. Only difference is, well, 2 main differences I find. One is, in Vedanta it is mainstream, it is the fundamental teaching, it's accepted and it is really the right teaching. It's accepted, mainstream. In other religions these people were persecuted. They're saying you're blaspheming and they were marginalized, sometimes tortured or killed and all. Second thing is, in Advaita Vedanta, the whole procedure is nicely worked out. Step by step, one can take. It will take you step by step. Today itself we will see. In other approaches, it's only the mystics by their own sadhana, they have reached it intuitively. But if you say how, explain it logically, the philosophy is not there. The scaffolding is not there. The structure is not there. Alright. I said I'll make it short. I still have not started. Alright, let me put it very briefly. 2 steps. Step 1. Somebody's phone is on?
I'm sorry.
So, step 1, I am not the body and mind. It's called Atma Anatma Vichara. An inquiry into what is self and what is not self. Why would you do that? Because the whole problem is, if you know the real nature of yourself, you will get enlightenment. But the Advaita claims we do not know as we really are. We think of ourselves as these bodies and minds. We may miss out the fact that we are actually this pure consciousness. So this will be revealed by an inquiry into the self, what is self and what is not self. Not self, not nonsense. Not self. So, Atma Anatma Vichara. It's a whole section. This book has a big section on that. How to see that you are not the body and mind. How to see that you are witness consciousness. Satchidananda. I'll summarize it for you very quickly. As Vedanta students, we have heard it again and again. These are basically arguments. Inquiry. So the inquiry, step by step, it takes you to show you that what you really are. Broadly speaking, we think we identify ourselves as body-mind, and this will show us that we are not body-mind. How? It will give you some argument, a kind of reasoning. But remember, what you do with this reasoning, first understand it. Actually, 3 steps always. Shravana, Manana, and Nityasa. First, learn the reasoning. After I give you the it's like an algorithm or like a kind of, it's reasoning basically, an argument. After I give you the argument, you should be able to state back to me, what did you say? What I said. That's step 1. Step 2 is, you should be able to say, I got it, okay, it's clear to me. Step 3 is important. You should be able to say, yes, it's a fact. It's real. The difference between step 2 and step 3 is that you might say, I get it, but I have not yet realized it.
Yeah.
You should be able to say that it's not a question of realization, it's a fact. You're telling me the truth. I didn't see it earlier, now I see it. Alright, so what are these arguments? Many are there. Many approaches. I will just share very quickly 5 with you. You wouldn't think that there are so many. Here itself, I think 8 or 9 are there, which show you that you are not the body-mind. Clearly shows you that you are not body-mind. So, what are these? First, you have heard some of them. Nitya Anitya. The body is changing. Anitya, changing, impermanent, temporary. It is born. It ages, decays, dies. And you always, very simple fact, that you always say, I was the one who was born, I was that baby, I was the teenager, I am this middle-aged person, I am this old person, I am this dying person. But is it the same person? Yes. Is it the same body? No. Literally, it's a system, the same system, but it's been continuously changing. Such great differences, and yet you say, I am the same person. This persistence of a common identity, and more than the common identity, the sense of that identity across a radically changing body. Look at your baby pictures. Look at yourself. You wouldn't recognize it. It's only when your mom says you are that, you say, okay, I was that. Don't embarrass me, mom. Yeah. Even kids will say that. If you show them your baby pictures, they'll feel embarrassed. But you know that you were that baby. You are in that body. You are in this body. Nitya Anitya. Your sense of person, sense of self. Self means Atma means self. My sense of the self is a continuity across the changing. And traditionally, there is a saying, Shadvida Vikara. Shadvikara, 6-fold changes. In Sanskrit, Yaska. There's a Sanskrit dictionary. He compiled Sanskrit lexicon. Say Yaska's Nirukta, they say. He speaks about the 6-fold changes. What are they? Jayate, born, and then Asti comes into existence. Having been born, it's a new way of putting it. Having been born, or a very old way of putting it. Having been born, you come into existence, because coming into existence as a body was not there earlier. So it's a change. And then Vardhate, you grow. Baby, toddler, child, young child, and then
Viparit.
Then you Viparinavati, matures, middle age, and then Apakshiyate begins to deteriorate. Somebody said after 40 it's all the way down. You can manage it. Because after 40 what takes effort? You can be very healthy and strong and all that, but you have to keep an eye on it. What was natural earlier, when you were in your teens, body seemed to recuperate, recover so fast. But now you have to watch it and exercise and gluten-free and so on and so forth. Apakshiyate begins to deteriorate. And finally, last, Nashyati, dies. And yet you have the sense of being the one continuous being in all of them. So this is one indicator. Nitya Anitya. First grab the argument. This is what you said. Try to see the sense behind the argument. These are not proofs in any sense. They are more like lawyers in the court. They do arguments to persuasive arguments, to see the force of the argument and then see it. So the main thing is to feel it intuitively. Then you will begin to see the justification. Logically, if you argue, you can argue this way and that way also. But if you feel it psychologically, if you feel it as a first-person experience, the experience of a changing body, it hits you viscerally. It intuitively hits you how much this has changed the body. Nitya Nitya. Second, Drashta Drishya, Drigdrishya Viveka. Whatever you know must be different from you. Whatever you see is different from the eyes. The eyes see, and whatever they see is different from the eyes. The eyes do not see themselves.
Yes.
Not directly. You can see it in a mirror, a reflection, or in a selfie, a picture. But the eyes do not see themselves directly. Just as the way they see everything else, they cannot. It's impossible, physically impossible. So what the eyes see, they're different from the eyes. Similarly, whatever you know by any sense organ, it must be different from the knower. I know the body. Do you? Yes. I can see it. I can touch it. I can hear it. Taste it, smell it, whatever. All sense organs operate on the body. The body is an object for your sense organs. If you know it, if it's an object for your sense organs, then it is not you. Whatever you are the knower of the body as drashta, and body is drishya. This is second argument. You are drashta, body is drishya. Hence you cannot be the body. Whatever you are. Yes, you are embodied in the body, you are somehow in the body, but you cannot be the body as such. Third, Chit Jara. This is related to the second one, Chit Jara, but it's a subtle argument. You are sentient, you are on purpose I am using a series of words because none of the English words fit the exact meaning, you have to give a general idea. You are sentient, you are aware, you are conscious. The body is jada, it is insentient, it is not aware. It is not conscious of you, you are conscious of it. In New York, I give the example of Greg Good. He is a psychologist in New York, counselor, but he is very, very much inspired by Advaita. I had a correspondence with him. He has written many books on Advaita also. I had a correspondence with him and he said he's actually started learning Advaita from Adishwaranandaji in the East Side Center, New York. He combines Advaita and psychology for counseling him. So he says a simple thing. See, this chitjana, this argument. Look at your hand. When you look at your hand, what is the feeling you get? I am looking at the hand. Do you get the feeling the hand is looking at me? No. Hand is not conscious of me. Is it saying hello? No. You are looking at the hand. I am looking at the hand. This is the clear feeling. You will say so. Look at the other hand. Same feeling. I am looking at the hand. Hand is not looking at me. So, it's the same thing for every part of the body. And what is the body but a combination of parts? That means you get the clear feeling, I am aware of the body. Body is not aware of me. Clearly, it's a simple fact, but it has a profound implication. That means I am conscious of the body. The body is not conscious of me.
Yes.
No more than a car is conscious of the driver. The driver is conscious of the car. The driver is aware of the car. Or a passenger is aware of the car. But the car is not aware of the passenger. Now, Chit Jada, that which is conscious, sentient, aware, that which is insentient, how can the two be the same? Body and I cannot be the same. Chit Jada. Third. Fourth, Nirguna Saguna, subtle point. Nirguna Saguna, without qualities and with qualities, without attributes and with attributes. The body has attributes. What attributes? Male or female, tall or short, overweight or perfect weight, or skinny, old or young, healthy or diseased. These are the different attributes of the body. But the self, you do not have any attributes. You say, wait a minute, I have so many attributes. I think I'm a fairly good guy, and I'm intelligent, and I'm kind. All those are attributes of the mind. Where do those attributes go when the mind falls asleep, in deep sleep? Nothing. You just think logically you cannot have attributes. Why? Because if you have attributes, I'll ask you, are you aware of those attributes? Yes. If you are aware of those attributes, then those attributes are drishya, object. You are the drashta. And the two must be separate. Any attribute you give to yourself, if you are aware of it, if it is something that you can know, experience, then it must be something apart from you. You will see clearly it belongs to the body or to the mind. To the physical body or to the person. Not to the conscious experiencer. By logic, therefore, you, the conscious self, must be attribute-less, nirguna. Think about it. It's impossible for you, the conscious self, to have an attribute. The attribute, whatever attribute you give to yourself, is an attribute of the body, of the person, of the mind, intellect, memory, prana, whatever you call it. Your achievements, whatever you call it. But not of consciousness itself. Consciousness is the pure subject, is out of this objective world and is looking into this objective world. Let's put it that way. It cannot have attributes. Nirguna saguna. Logically, it's almost what you call mathematically trivial. And then fifth, that which has attributes. So the fourth one was that which has attributes. The body has attributes. Because you cannot have attributes, you cannot be the body. Nirguna saguna. Fifth one is very interesting. Eka aneka. You always think of yourself as one, as an individual. I am a person. And everything else you think about yourself is a collection of parts. Body has so many parts. It's a composite, anekam, made of many things. You can call it one system, but clearly it's composed of parts. It's divisible. Somebody who loses a leg does not disappear. Just becomes a lame or legless person. We lose our hair and today I lost my hair. It's not that I'm a different person. So that shows that the body has different parts. It's composed of different parts, tiny and big. And you can remove them and still the body will continue. But you are an indivisible unit. That's how you see yourself, as one. Even persons who have got multiple personality disorder, they are only one personality at a time. And then they switch. Nobody thinks of oneself as a committee. I am a person, not a committee. Body is composed of parts. Mind is composed of parts. You have an intellect and a memory and an ego and desires and perceptions, a personal narrative, a biography. All of these are parts of your mind, your personality. But the person has no parts. What's the time now? I can't see the reflection.
6:47.
7?
6:47.
6:47. Yes. Ekam anekam. Okay, that's enough. Because of these 5 reasons. What are the 5 reasons? Nitya anitya. I am nitya, body is anitya. Therefore I cannot be the body. How can a nitya and anitya be the same thing? I cannot be the body. Second, drishya and drashta. I am the knower, experiencer of my body. Drishya and drashta, the seer and the seen must be different. So the body must be, in some sense, different from me. I cannot be the body. Third, chit-jara. I am conscious, sentient, aware. Body is something that I am conscious of, sentient, about, aware of. It is not aware of me or conscious of me. So it is, I am chit, it is jara. Sanskrit terms are very precise. Chit, jara. Then the fourth one, nirguna saguna. Body has so many attributes, changing attributes, many attributes. Mind also. I have no attributes. Logically, see, you cannot have attributes. If you give attributes to yourself, you know them. If you know them immediately, they become an object. They do not belong to the knower. Then fifth one, ekam anekam, one and many. You always see it psychologically. You always see yourself as one unit. Clearly the body is not one unit, it's a composite. Even psychologically it's a composite. Mind is a composite. Okay. Because of these are enough to go on with. There are others also. 5 arguments I have advanced. Because of this, you cannot be the body. We cannot be the body. Though we are embodied, we are here, we are acting with the body, through the body. The driver is in the car or the passenger is in the car, but the passenger is not the car. Yes.
Maharaj, when you say body, you are considering body-mind complex as a whole.
Okay, I'm coming to the next point, mind. What about mind? Shankaracharya has separately. So he has given many verses. I'm combining. You might think I'm carrying on too long, but actually I'm collapsing many verses into a few minutes. Next thing he takes up is mind. And same arguments applied to the mind, nitya, anitya. Does the mind change?
Yes.
Oh boy, it does. How it changes? Changes much faster than the body. From the morning till now, how many times happy, how many times miserable, how many times curious, how many times bored, how many times excited, how many times tired, how many times eager, how many times annoyed. How many things you have learned, how many things you have forgotten. From morning till now. That's just one day. And throughout the life, how the mind changes. And yet you say, I am that one, it is my mind. Then in that case, you are the one who saw the experience the annoyed mind, who saw the calm mind, who saw the eager mind, who saw the bored mind. How can you be the mind? You are the same one. The mind changed so much. Nitya, nitya. You cannot be the mind. And it's such a relief to know that. The mind can go on functioning. You know why you desire to shut down the mind? Why people want, they love topics like going beyond the mind, silencing the mind, no mind. I gave a talk on no mind 1 month before I came here. No mind.
Yes.
It's from the 3rd chapter of Mandukya Karika. Manaso hi amani bhave. When the mind becomes no mind. On that topic. And somebody commented on YouTube, no mind means no hair. Why people want to do that is, they are so closely entwined with the mind, they are tortured by the mind.
Yeah.
If you know you are not the mind, it's a big relief. In Advaita, you need not shut down the mind. Mind can do its thing. When it's needed, moment you see, when you step back from the mind, metaphorically speaking, when we step back from the mind automatically quietens down. It's only because we are so desperately entwined with the mind that the mind is disturbed. We are disturbing the mind, we are torturing the poor thing, it tortures us back. It's an instrument. Just because I have hands, will I keep grasping everything? No. There was a movie, Charlie Chaplin, I think Modern Times, he was a factory worker.
Modern Times.
Modern Times. And his only job was, throughout the day, the 2 screws he has to tighten, the 2 wrenches he has to do like this. The next box comes along like this. And like hour after hour like this. So when the lunch break came, silent, he can't stop himself. Like this. And the manager came and foreman came and scolded, "Hey, what are you doing?" He caught his nose and did like He can't stop himself. Our minds have become like that. All the time. Like this. Just because I have a mind doesn't mean it has to keep chattering away all the time. Give it a problem, a trained mind. Vivekananda says, learn to empty the bucket. When you fill the bucket, that means fill the mind with you're working on a problem, you're working on something, you're memorizing something, thinking about it, meditating, praying, whatever. Do it. And then empty it. Next job, put it in there. I was reading Reminiscence of Rivet, Swami Tapasyananda ji. He was the vice president of the order in Madras Mutt, Chennai Mutt in those days. He was an extraordinarily disciplined person. All the time he would be engaged in study and translations and writing books, and very frugal. Somebody said we need a translation. One of his classic works is English translation of Bhagavata, 6 volumes, I think, or 5 volumes. 3 volumes? 3 volumes. 3 volumes of the Bhagavata we translated from Sanskrit. And actually they said that there's a demand for this and we don't have it, please do it. He was 75 years old at that time.
Wow.
He said, and then they pleaded with him to do it, he said, okay, I will do it. And then the next day he asked, give me a bundle of good quality, one-sided paper. One-sided paper means what, you know? Paper which has been used on one side. The other side, he will never use. See, everything is such an important task. And today, how many people are being benefited by that Bhagavata?
Yeah.
No waste. He does not consider it worthwhile that he has to use a new page for writing the Bhagavata. Then he asked for slate and chalk. Why? Because in translation one makes mistakes. Why should I waste the page? Once you have written it, then you cut it out. So I will write in the chalk first, and then if it's correct, then I will write on the other side of that already used paper. And like that he was working day and night. And he is hard at work with all of his other responsibilities. And he found that, which is heavy engagements with dealing with people and all of that, he cannot devote enough time. He's getting disturbed. So he said, tomorrow onwards I will get up at 3 a.m. So the 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. I can do the translation work undisturbed, and then 5 a.m. onwards my regular routine will start. Anyhow, going on like this, there's some legal problem with the Madras Mutt or something. And the Swami says that they asked him. He put it all aside. Bhagavata, that intense interest, all of that he put it aside, started studying law books. And at that 75-year-old person. And after a few days of studying it intensely, same day and night, he wrote a nice presentation of the case, what should be done, what is the case, and a precise, brilliant presentation. Went back to Bhagavatam again, or went back to whatever was studying at that time. You see, empty the bucket. What discipline? Whether for a bad thing or for a good thing. Mind is not attached. It can take up and let go. You are not the mind. Nitya anitya. Drashta drishya. Is the mind obvious to you? Can you introspect? Can you see your own thoughts? Yes, of course. When you feel happy, do you not feel it? If you feel it, you are the knower of the happiness in your mind. How is it that you are saying, I am happy? I am the knower of the happiness. I am the knower of the misery in my mind also. Drashta drishya. You are not the mind. Same thing, even more stunning. Chit jada. You are conscious, the mind is not conscious. This is very startling for most people. Because consciousness, whatever it is, in modern consciousness studies or in other philosophies also, one thing they say, give me an example of consciousness, people will say mind. Mind is something that is conscious. Actually, Vedanta says even mind is not conscious. Mind, why we call mind conscious? Because mind shines in the light of borrowed consciousness. The technical term for that in Vedanta is chidabhasa, which means a shadow or a reflection of consciousness. Just like the sun reflected in a pot of water, you'll have a little sun there. That sun is not the real sun. It shines there. It illumines the water. But it's not the real sun. Similarly, mind is a borrowed consciousness, but it's not conscious itself. Prove it. Very simple. I give this example sometimes. Think of any thought. Nothing is coming to mind. Especially when you tell the mind is always thinking. You tell it to think something, and what is it? Any thought? 2 plus 2, 4? 2 plus 2, 4. Now, are you aware of 2 plus 2, 4 thought? Or is the 2 plus 2, 4 thought aware of you? You are aware of it. Clearly, it's a thought, it's a movement in the mind. And you are aware of it. You are conscious of it. And you see clearly, that thought, there is no way it can be conscious of you. It's just a ripple on the lake of the mind. 2 plus 2, 4. Just like all other movements in the mind, there's also movement in the mind. Mind is an object, clearly. It is jada, you are chit. Same thing, nirguna saguna. All qualities are in the mind. Happy mind, sad mind, I said, happy lama, sad lama, happy mind, mentally disturbed lama, mentally disturbed mind. All of that. It is the mind's quality, not your quality. And then ekam anekam. You are the same person. Mind has so many parts, so many memories and intellect and emotions and ideas and ego. All of that is mind. There are so many parts. You are one. Ekam anekam. For these reasons, you cannot be the mind. You are the consciousness. Why are you saying you are consciousness? How did you know your consciousness? Well, one thing you cannot deny is that you are aware. So you are consciousness. You are chit. You are drashta. You are nitya. You are ekam. So many things I have discovered about you now. You are nirguna. And mind and body are separate from you. This itself, at this point, Sankhya says, this is the final teaching. You have attained Kaivalya. You are Purusha, pure consciousness. Mind, body, universe is Prakriti, separate from you. This, if you can sincerely feel it, you will get Mukti. This is called Kaivalya in Sankhya philosophy. At this point, Sankhya stops, finished. But this is only step 1 of Advaita. Step 1. Having explained all this, you are not the mind, not the body. Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham na cha shrotra jivve na cha grana netre na cha vyoma bhumi na tejo na vayu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. I am not the mind, not the intellect, not the ego, not the memory. I am not the sense organs. I am not the body made of 5 elements. I am pure consciousness. I am pure bliss. I am of the nature of Shiva. I am Shiva. Oh, this Advaita Shankaracharya said, no. This is step 1 only. Step 1. And Shankaracharya himself, this book was written by Shankaracharya. Having completed this, nicely is taking along like this, and having completed the whole analysis, and then in 41st verse, he says, what have you accomplished in this way? Nothing. Wild goose chase. It's not even true what we have just said. So what? Yes, I've taken you for a ride. Necessary ride, but I've taken you for a ride. Why? He says, 41st verse. Ityatmadeha bhagena prapanchasyeva satyata yathokta takka shastrena tata kim purusharthata. Kim purusharthata? What goal of human life have you gained by this? What only thing that you have proven? See, what have you done? Earlier you said, I am this, I stop with this skin, and outside this boundary of the skin is not me. Atma, Anatma. This thing only, all you have done is push the boundary back a little more. Now you are saying body is also Anatma, mind is also Anatma, and I am the witness consciousness. You still have Dvaita, you have duality. And he says, Prapanchasya Satyata, all you have proved is the world is a reality. When you separate two things, implicitly you prove that two things are separate, independent realities. You see? I separate the cover from the glass. They're separate. That means this is real, this is also real. Right? Now, what will be gained by this? By this he says, because behind this is the whole understanding that the goal of human life is attained by Advaita, non-duality. When you see Bheda, difference, and that still you have not reached perfection, you have not reached freedom. So the next thing is, now that you have reached this witness consciousness, next you have to show that everything else, mind, body, whatever you separated, and the entire universe is nothing other than this witness consciousness. Second step starts here. I'll tell you quickly what it is and then we'll see, have a little discussion. What is the second step? What Shankaracharya does after this is, basically, he quotes first from the Upanishads. Upanishads say, Neha nanasti kinchana. There is no duality, there is no multiplicity here whatsoever. Which means, the multiplicity that I am seeing, I am one consciousness and everything else is separate. This everything else. This is denied by the Upanishad. This separation is not there. That means, what does it, how do you put it then? Then what are they? What are all these things then? Shankaracharya comes to the stunning conclusion, they are not real. What do you mean they are not real? You see them, but they are nothing apart from you. You alone, Satchidananda alone appears in all these forms and it experiences itself. Alan Watts story? God pretending to be not God? Yesterday we heard that story.
Yes.
So, you Satchidananda, you alone are appearing as mind, body, world. So in one sense, mind, body, world are nothing other than Satchidananda, Brahman. Thus is Advaita established. And he gives a series, I think 15 examples, one after another. Wonderful examples he gives to show that. Having first quoted from the Upanishads, then he gives examples. Examples like this. Yadvan mridi ghata bhrantim shupto va rajata sthitim tadvad brahmani jivatvam vikshamanena pashyati. It says, just as in clay you mistake it for some reality called pot. Definitely you can call it a pot, no problem. That's what we normally do. But once you identify it as clay, you must say the reality is clay there. Then yadvad mridi ghata bhranti. The error, the erroneous idea that there is a real thing called a pot in the clay. No. Shukto va rajata sthitim. It gives another example. The naked, the shell, seashell, it appears like silver. It sparkles in the distance in the seashore as silver. That is called shukti. Shuktika is that shell. They call it nacre. Rajata means silver. From a distance it looks like silver. People think there's a little bit of silver. Why silver would be lying on the sea beach? I don't know. But anyway, that's the example. There is no silver. It looks like that. Then he will give other examples also. He said, in that way, in Brahman is imagined, appears jivatvam. I am an individual being. You remember? Red crystal? Colorless crystal appears red. Then has it become red? No. Brahman appears to be a jiva. Has Brahman become a jiva? No. Not only that, in Brahman appears the word. Has Brahman become the word? No. The word is names and forms, nama, rupa, vyavahara, and the reality is Brahman, Satchidananda. So this is what he says. And many examples. I'll quickly give a little bit of insight which Shankaracharya.
Here the crystal as well as the red flower, both
Yes.
of them are existing. So that analogy, how can we?
Right. So these are two separate realities, crystal and red flower. That's why, but remember, all these examples, only one thing has to be taken. That because of the presence of the red flower, the upadhi, the crystal seems to be red. And here the red flower has its own existence. So there are two things here. But what is required is the upadhi only. The appearance of the upadhi, not a separate reality of the upadhi. In the case of Brahman, what happens? Because of Maya, body, mind, world, panchabhuta, they all appear. They have no reality apart from Brahman. But they seem to make Brahman into a jiva. They seem to make Brahman into the world. Don't get stuck on the separate red flower here, then you will get confused. See, that's why Advaita depends heavily on examples. But you need a teacher to show you how to use the examples. What is important about the red flower and the crystal?
Redness.
Red is an appearance of redness in the crystal because of the red flower. What is not important? The independent existence of two things called crystal and red flower. That's not meant here. If you say that two things are required, then this question will arise. Then in Brahman, what is the second thing? There is no second thing. Then why is Brahman appearing as Jiva? Brahman is appearing as Jiva because of the upadhi of Ajnana. Maya will make it appear as Ishvara. But both Ajnana and Maya have no independent existence apart from Brahman, just like this. So Brahman ultimately is the only reality. So that's why there is no real Jivatvam, Jiva nature in Brahman. There is no real Ishwaratvam also of Brahman. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara are appearances in Brahman. Brahman alone exists. That's the only thing that is meant by this example. Yes. Many more examples he's giving. I'll give you 2 or 3 more and share some insights why he's saying this. See, it's like this. What teacher said, what is real cannot be negated. You cannot remove that. If it's real, it is real. You have to admit it. What is completely unreal need not be negated. What is false, not real and yet appears, that needs to be negated. What does it mean? Suppose someone says sees the rope, by mistake he sees as a snake. Then what do you need to do? You have to go and say that it's not a snake, it's a rope. The snake has to be negated and the rope has to be presented to that person. You never need to go and say that it's not an elephant, don't worry. This is prasanga, there is no context. There is nobody seeing an elephant anyway. There is no presence of an elephant. It need not be negated. And the rope cannot be negated in the example, because the rope is a vyavaharika satyam, a transactional reality, it's there. You cannot, you say it's not a rope, it's not a rope, it won't go away, it'll still be a rope, it'll lie there. It'll laugh at you lying there. You cannot wish it away. But what is not there, what is a product of a mistake, in Vedanta it's called adhyasa, superimposition. What is that? Snake. Not a real snake. Mistaken, rope mistaken as a snake. That needs to be negated. Your job is to say that it's not a snake. Inquire, you will see it's a rope. Inquire into the rope, what will you see? It's a rope. And the elephant need not be inquired into because there is no elephant at all there. So he says, what is real cannot be negated. What is completely unreal need not be negated. But what is false, not real yet appearing. What the nature of false is? Not real yet appearing. You see, when we say false, true speech, false speech, silence. True speech cannot be negated because it's true. Silence need not be negated because it did not say anything. Only a lie has to be negated, corrected. Somebody tells a lie, false speech. Exactly like that. In this world, I'll come to you. According to Vedanta, Brahman alone is real. And what we experience as the world, as an appearance, this has to be shown that it is not real. It's an appearance, like the snake in a rope. It's an appearance, it's not an independent reality, it actually is Brahman. Just as the snake is actually rope, this world is actually Brahman. It has to be shown. What is not at all present, you need not say anything about it. They say square circle, kha pushpa, flower in the sky. You need not negate it because nobody sees it. But you see the world. And this has to be shown to be false. Why this has to be shown to be false? When you say this is false, then Brahman alone remains as the only reality. You, the pure consciousness, remain as the only reality. Then you are Advaitam. You are non-dual. Why? Because if mind, body, external world remain as real entities, you cannot say you are Advaitam. If they are there, Advaitam is there. If they are appearing and yet not real, they are only you, then you can say you are Advaitam. Can you not? Because they are not real. You cannot count. Suppose, yesterday we did that. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti and Turiya, fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. But is it really 4? Turiya is the only one. Then Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, they are none other than Turiya. None other. It is not a second reality apart from Turiyam. Advaitam. Dvaita, second. Advaita, not second. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, waking, dreaming, deep sleep are not second realities apart from Turiyam. So Turiya is Advaita. Similarly, you are Advaita. You are Advaita because mind, body, world, they are negated. They are shown to be false appearances of you. You had a question, do you remember?
No, you answered it,
Yes.
Maharaj.
Telepathy. Yes.
Maharaj, why should we have the knowledge of Advaita at all?
Why should we have it? Because the knowledge of Dvaita is giving us suffering. Dvaita is false, Advaita is real. So you should have knowledge of reality. Because we want to know the real. Who would want to live in a falsity or in a hallucination? One. Second, there is a practical necessity. Practical necessity is removal of suffering. Upanishad says, Taittiriya Upanishad, Yasya udaram antaram kurute. Who sees even the slightest difference between yourself and everything else? Tasya bhayam bhavati.
Yeah.
There is fear and anxiety and terror and despair and longing and desire and frustration. All of that incompleteness comes when you see difference between yourself, I and the other.
Yes.
The Upanishad says whoever makes the slightest difference between oneself and everything else, that person will enter into fear. Change will come, life and death will come, everything, samsara will arrive with full force, even the slightest difference if you see. That's why Advaita, in another place Upanishad says, Neha nanasti kinchana, mrityu samrityum apnoti, ya iha nanedam pashyati. There is no multiplicity here whatsoever. The one who sees this as nana means not the Hindi grandfather. Difference. One who sees difference here, multiplicity here, goes from death to death. He could have said birth to birth, but he never said birth. Dark message. You go from death to death if you see Dvaita. The possibility of change, difference, all of that comes up, then it becomes real for you. So go from death to death. So duality is criticized in the Upanishads, Dvaita. The reality of Dvaita is criticized in the Upanishads because it leads to suffering, dukkha. Ultimately, what is the purpose of all of this? Vedanta is dukkha nivritti ananda prapti. To overcome suffering, to attain peace and joy. Real lasting peace and joy. That's why. This is the Advaitic point of view.
But Swamiji, what
I'll
about
come to you. Okay, there's a question there, yes.
You explained 2 steps. In step 1, I see it as a way to position ourselves at a proper spot, and then have the proper
Not even
vision.
position yourself. Yes, to position yourself in what is real, unchanging, awareness, yes.
So, and you gave 5 arguments.
Reasons, yes, arguments.
Which are like the stepping ladders for us.
Right,
to
they're
get to that
arguments
spot.
for intellect, but even deeper spiritually, I would like to call them pointers to something that already exists. I'm trying to point it out.
So when a person reaches the right position, the right spot, will the step 2 be revealed to that person?
Advaita says it has to be revealed to that person, not automatically. But after all, there are many philosophies, especially, he says here, he points it, Yatokta Tarka Shastrena, as the logicians say, Nyaya, dualistic, Dvaita, Vaisheshika, dualistic, Dvaita, Sankhya, dualistic, Yoga, dualistic, Purva Mimamsa, dualistic. So all the other philosophies, including Buddhism, except 2 Buddhist philosophies, Vijnanavada and Shunyavada. They are all dualistic philosophies. So it's not necessary that once you discover yourself as the pure Atman, the next one, non-duality, will be automatically revealed. Many philosophies are not non-dualistic. They are dualistic. Sankhya will say it is enough. If you complete step 1, Sankhya stops there and says it is enough. Yoga, Patanjali Yoga, it stops there. Yoga Darshana stops at the step 1. They will not say step 1 and step 2. It's just, that is the whole teaching. If you say, no, what step 2, whole world is false, you are the only reality, you'll say you're crazy.
So what is the need to call that a step 2 instead of a part of revelation? Is that, so step is something that we take an effort to do. So when step 1 is achieved, and step 2 is automatically
Not automatic, I just said it's not automatic. There are so many philosophies in which step 2 is not there at all. Advaita gets used as step 2, non-dualism. All the dualistic philosophies, they do not take the step 2, they stop at step 1. So the second one is not automatic.
So what can a person do to
This
get
one,
that?
exactly as Shankaracharya says, once you begin to see, you have to see that. After all, what have you been doing? You are using these pointers to see that you are the witness consciousness. That you are not body, not mind. Right? That's what you are trying to see. The next step is also seeing. Seeing means not physically seeing, insight. When you begin to see that whatever you have separated yourself from, you have to see this, that they are not separate from you. How do you see? A good example is your dreams. When you wake up from your dreams, all those persons you saw, all those places you saw, all those events which happened, don't you see automatically, immediately that they are not separate from me? Why are they not separate from me? Because they are not real. They are all imagined in me. In the same way, this entire universe is not real in what sense? It's not a separate reality from you. Our general idea is, I am one reality, these are all other realities, I am a tiny little reality in the midst of a vast multiple reality, multiplicity, pluralistic reality. Non-dualism is just the opposite of pluralism. What appears to be a pluralistic universe is at the base one. This is what Vivekananda called the second part of his teaching, oneness of all existence. You see, his teaching, he says, divinity within us and the oneness of all existence. What is the divinity within us? Step 1. I am calling it step 1, step 2. I am doing it because it leads to confusion otherwise. Now, can you resolve that question? What was the question we started with? Forgotten. The problem we started with is, you are telling us I am not the body, not the mind, I am pure consciousness. Next you are telling us I am everything. Then I must be body and mind. So am I body and mind or not body and mind? You tell me. Tell me the answer now. Not body and mind, but they are not different from me. They are not real, they are appearances in me. So what's the difference between, I start off by saying I am body and mind. And I end up by saying I am also body and mind, then what's the difference?
That detachment. That
Right.
that resistance.
When I start off, when I say I am body and mind, I say this is the reality. I have no idea of Satchidananda, pure consciousness, nothing like that. I am this. Body is aging, I am aging. Body is sick, I am sick. Body is dying, I am dying. Mind is angry, I am angry. Mind is bored, I am bored. Why? Because this is what I am. But after completing this process, when I am still, the same reality presents itself to me. I am the reality which shines forth as mind, body and entire world. Satchidananda is the reality. And in it appears all of this, including this mind-body complex. I realize my unity with everybody. I alone am everything. Whom will I hate? Whom will I have special love for, or whom will I have special hatred for? I have oneness with everybody. Right? Whom to blame, whom to praise. When blamer blamed, praiser praised are but one. Swami Vivekananda, Song of Sannyasi. You will see then what will happen, the result of this. All those things, ethics we talk about and trying to practice, they will become natural to you. Why will you tell a lie? What will you be afraid of? What will you be greedy about? What is it that is lacking in you, apurna? Nothing. You are everything. What is lacking in you? That which you want outside, for which you are chasing all your life, money, pleasure, success, name and fame, they are all manifestations in you, the consciousness. Why would you want that particular thing for this body and mind? See, that oneness of all existence. Then your life will be blessed. A life of fearlessness, a life of love. You will still be back in this body. But now you feel oneness with everybody. A sameness everywhere. You are not afraid of death. You are not afraid of life also. There is no need to run away from life also. You have perfectly, you can get engaged and perfectly you can be detached. Why? Because what you are engaging from and what you are detaching from is always the same thing, Satchidananda. There is no difference. Heaven, hell and earth will be same to you. It's a blessed life. Even if you understand it intellectually. This is 2 steps to non. I called this, in Santa Barbara I gave a talk, 2 steps to not to. 2 steps to not to. Not to, Advaita, 2 steps to not to. He gives so many examples after this. Yes.
Maharaj, 2 examples come to my mind. One is the case of conjoined twins. Conjoined twins, there are at least one twin lives, they're 40 plus old now. They have separate senses of ego and they share the same body. So I is different from the body.
Clearly, yes. Yes, you see.
And yogis can assume multiple bodies.
Example which I will incorporate the next one more. 5 arguments, 6th argument will become conjoined twins. But you see, generally the arguments they give, Shankaracharya gives, are something that everybody shares. But these are specific arguments. Conjoined twins and yogis. Yogis are specific arguments.
Yeah.
Suppose somebody doubts it. No, I don't believe it. About yogis. It's all superstition. But conjoined twins is a fact of life that people know.
Yeah, yeah.
One body, clearly you can have two egos in one body.
They're separate minds, though.
Separate minds.
Yeah.
But one consciousness?
No, one consciousness behind it, one consciousness for everybody. Sankhya says many consciousnesses. Sankhya, many consciousnesses.
But twins would have two separate consciousnesses?
No.
One.
Why only twins? None of us have separate consciousness. With separate body also we don't have separate consciousness, according to Advaita. Separate body, separate mind, but not separate consciousness. In Gita it says, Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam iva cha sthitam. Undivided in all bodies and minds, it appears to be divided. What is that it? Consciousness.
In Dvait philosophies, we would say duality is between God and the Jiva.
Yeah.
Here in non-dualistic philosophy, or here in Advait, we are saying it is not only God and Jivatma, but also everybody else.
Advaita is one.
Brahman. So it is God, Jivatma, as well
Jagat.
as the entire Jada nature.
Jagat, yes.
So every three things are there, not two.
Yes.
So why it is called Advait? It should be Atrait.
Not three,
Yeah.
not two. Apart from Advaita, you see what it means is, apart from Brahman, there is no second reality. It's only if there is a second reality, you can have third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. If there is no second at all from Brahman,
There is
there is no question of anything else.
Mm.
Basically, our triangle is this: Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. I am Jiva, this is Jagat, and there is some Ishvara, I believe religion tells me. If you stop here, this is Dvaita. They are separate. Clearly, Jagat is separate from me, I am the Jiva, and God is separate from me. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara separate. This is Dvaita. Madhvacharya, he says Pancha Bhedaha. 5 differences, fundamental differences. Do you feel that God is different from you? Yes, I feel God is different from me. You are right, God is different from me. 1. Second, do you feel other people are different from you, all other beings? Yes, you are right, all beings are separate. Jiva, Jiva Veda. Jiva Brahma Veda, Jiva, Jiva Veda. Differences between sentient beings. Third difference, do you feel you are different from the chair you are sitting on? Yes, I am different, chair is different. You are right. All insentient beings, Jada, Prakriti, they are different from Jiva. Jiva, Jagat, Veda. Fourth is, do you think that this universe is different from God? Yes. Then Jagat, Brahma, Veda, fourth. Fifth, do you think the chair is different from table? Clearly. You are right. Jagat, Jagat, Veda. Pancha Veda. There are 5 Vedas which are apparent to us, common sense. And this is how we experience. This is absolutely common sense philosophy. And Madhvacharya says this is correct and start from this. This is Dvaita Vedanta. Ramanuja comes and says it seems to be different. There is an underlying unity. That underlying unity is called Brahman. Brahman alone has his own nature as Brahman. Now they call it Narayana. Has own nature as Narayana or Vishnu, and also as in association 2 other natures. This Jagat and Jiva. So Jiva, Jagat, Vishishta Brahma, Vishishta Advaita. Brahman qualified by sentient beings and insentient universe. This is called qualified non-dualism. What is the difference between Advaita? See, according to Ramanuja, all these are real. And they are real parts of God. God is the whole, we are parts. Not H-O-L-E, W-H-O-L-E. God is the whole of which we are parts. Amsha, Amshi. Amsha, Amshi. Amshi means the part holder. Amsha means part. Another name is Shesha, Sheshi. You know the terms? Anantanag, Sheshanag. Shesha means part. part of the divine person. She means the divine person. Just like I have hands, legs, belly, chest, head. They're all parts of my body. Each one is different from the other, but they're all united into one organic whole. Ramanuja says that. That organic whole is there. We don't see that underlying unity. We only see the differences, the fractured reality. There's an organic unity in the universe. That is Brahman, that is God. It's very close to Spinoza's pantheistic approach. Close, not the same. What does Advaita say? There is only one indivisible Brahman, Akhanda Brahma, Satchidananda. Then what are all these appearances, mithya? They are not parts. Brahman is not the whole. It's not a combination of parts. It is one indivisible Akhanda Satchidananda in which so many things are appearing and disappearing, but they are not real apart from Brahman. Tell me the thing. Simple question. This table, it's made of wood, I think. Yes. Is the table a part of wood?
It is wood.
It's wood. But is it a part of wood? Is the leg of the table a part of the table?
Yes.
Surface of the table?
Yes.
And the underneath of the table? Yes. But is the table itself a part of wood? No. Is the wood a part of the table?
No.
Some might say yes. No. Wood is not a part of the table.
Wood is manifesting as table.
Wood is the only reality there. It's the only substance there, which appears as the table, which is given the name of the table, which is given a form by the carpenter. Similarly, bodies, minds, universe is not part of Satchidananda. Satchidananda is the only reality. It appears in Jagat, Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. And opposite, Satchidananda is not your part. Don't say my Atma. Oh, I have understood today, my Atma is fine, but my problems are still there. Your Atma is not like your kidney or your lung. Atma is you, the real you.
Clear some.
Yes. Yes.
Maharaj, in the dream example, when the waker creates the dream world, the waker takes a dream identity.
Yes.
But even though the entire dream world is waker's creation, the waker only has one identity in the dream.
Right. Exactly like this. That's why I made the difference between Swapna Abhimani and Swapna Purusha. Swapna Abhimani is he who owns up the entire dream. You, when you wake up, you say, oh, it was all me. When Janaka woke up from the nightmare, what did he say? It was all me. And what would he feel? That not only that Janaka who was rolling on the ground, the dust, the bowl, the kite which swooped in, the enemy king, and the man was distributing the khichdi, all of that was nothing but me. He is Swapna Abhimani, the whole thing is me. But in that Swapna, he was the Janaka there, the dream Janaka who was defeated and a tragedy happened to him. He is called a Swapna Purusha. Swapna Purusha and Swapna Abhimani, these distinctions are there. Exactly like that. Right now our condition is we are Jagrat Purusha. Who is Jagrat Abhimani? One who possesses the entire universe. Who is that? Virat. Vishwarupa in 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Who identifies with the entire world. That is God. But Vedanta goes beyond that. There is something called Jagrat Drashta, pure consciousness Turiya, in which all this is appearing. Vedanta wants to point that out. If you stop with Jagrat Purusha, materialism. If you stop with Jagrat Abhimani, religion. If you go further to the Jagrat Drashta, Advaita will go.
Maharaj,
Yeah, hold on to the question, yes.
Is that a follow-up?
yeah.
Yeah, then follow up, yes.
So, Maharaj, in that example, you mentioned the rationality behind ethics, right?
Yes.
If we just consider the dream world, so there is pain and suffering in the dream world. So, ethics apply
Yes.
because ultimately it is the Abhimani of the Jagrat that created it.
Yes.
But the Abhimani in the end doesn't care about the dream world because
Yes.
he laughed out.
Yes, because there's nobody else, nobody suffered there except him.
Right. Then why would ethics matter in the dream world?
In the dream world,
In that example, yeah.
as long as you feel that there is somebody suffering, ethics matter. Why don't you run out to save the people drowning on the screen in a flood, or the people who are being attacked by aliens, or why don't you go and help them? They're suffering so much. Have you no ethics? Why is it? Why do you dismiss it? Because it's an appearance, right? As long as you think there's a real person suffering, it is ethical to go and help. Why? And that ethics also ultimately, it's based on Advaita, on oneness. You might ask this question: if it's all a dream, then why should I care about what happens to other people in the dream? The thing is, if you're asking as an individual being, then you're an unethical person. Then the other people are real and suffering. If you are asking as an Advaitin, then you think it would be the oneness of all existence. They suffer as I suffer. Emphasize the oneness, not the falsity there. As long as you cannot dismiss your own sufferings, you cannot dismiss anybody else's sufferings. Even when you can dismiss your own sufferings, your reaction to others will be immediately love and sympathy. The wider question here is, what is the link of ethics with Advaita? Many people think that Advaita will make you unethical, or not unethical, at least indifferent to ethics, good and evil both. In misinterpretation of Advaita can lead to that. Swami Vivekananda, on the other hand, he said the only justification for ethics in this world, it's a huge question in philosophy. Ethics, Peter Singer and others, so much work is going on ethics, ethical philosophy. Vivekananda's position has not yet been appreciated. His position is incredible. He says the only justification for ethics in the world is non-duality.
Yes.
It is because you are one with me that I have to help you. If I am taking any kind of step to help myself, I must help you also because you are one with me. No other system works. And this was beautifully demonstrated. There's a paper called Swami Vivekananda's Ontological Ethics, written by Swami Bhajananandaji, who's a very wonderful Swami who's in Belur Math now. He has written this many years ago, 20 pages it. Wonderful essay. What he does is he takes a sweeping survey of all the theories of ethics in Western philosophy, in Indian philosophy, and shows where they fail, and shows how Advaita has been applied by Vivekananda to give a justification for ethics. In the study of ethics, this is a great problem today. Why should one be ethical? There is no clear logical reason why one should be ethical. There are different attempts. There is utilitarianism. That if you are ethical, you will be happy. It will serve, it will make a better world if you are ethical. Difficult to prove. There are many serious issues with it. There is what is called deontology. That means it's your duty to be ethical. Religion tells you to be ethical, law tells you to be ethical, like civil society tells you to be ethical. It's by duty or duty bound to be ethical. Even that is also, you can doubt it. There is something called utilitarian, then there is deontological, there are other theories also, multiple theories of ethics, and he shows how they all fail. And he shows the beauty of Vivekananda's approach to ethics. Vivekananda again and again said, the only justification for ethics, why should I not cut the throat of my neighbor if it helps me? Why should I love my neighbor? Why?
Because it's me only.
The only logical, very simple answer is there. What is the connection between me and my neighbor? You see, how have we tried to answer this question so far in our world? One answer is, it is against the law. You'll be arrested if you do that. Another answer is, God commands you to love the neighbor. But suppose my God does not command me to love the neighbor. It's only your God, I don't believe in it. Suppose I am an atheist. Then I don't accept the command of the God. So all these approaches, they have a weakness, a gap. Actually underneath what is there? What is the relationship between you and your neighbor? Vivekananda says oneness. as you would not hurt yourself, as you would try to make yourself happy, you must not hurt the neighbor and you must try to make that person happy. Basically, this is what all the religions are trying to tell us, but the underlying logic is very powerful in Advaita. Look at what Jesus said in when he was asked, the Jews have so many commandments in the Torah. Do you know how many eyes? We all think 10 commandments, but that's just a Hollywood movie. 10 main commandments, true, Moses and. But in total, Rabbi told me there are 530 commandments. So someone asks Master, Jesus, Master, which is the most important commandment? He said, I will tell you. And you can imagine they are flipping out their notebooks and just tell 530, you tell me one. And he says, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy might. What a beautiful thing. That is the one commandment. You write, oh, very good. Close the notebook, and then he says, and one more.
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
One more. What is that?
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Love thy neighbor as you love thyself. Love thy neighbor. 2. Why 2? Why 2? Why not 3? Why not 1? Because of oneness. That neighbor is nothing apart from you. You see, again, the 2 steps in spirituality comes back here. Why 2? Krishna told Arjuna, essence of Gita, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. What is the teaching? Meditate upon me, contemplate me, God. Same as the commandment which Jesus said. And then he said, and one more thing. Do your duty. Fight the battle of life. Why that and? Why not only do your duty? Why not only love God? Why and?
It's not
This world is not separate from you. You have to live and act in this world. It is your own expression. If you make 2 different things, when you make it's not the highest teaching. When Vivekananda gave, we monks discuss it again and again. Vivekananda gave the motto for the Ramakrishna order. You know, Atmano Mokshartham Jagatitaya. For your own liberation. Atma here means the Jivatma. For your own liberation. And for the welfare of the world. Why and? So that cha means and. So we monks often debate it. Why not only for the welfare of the world? Why not only for your own liberation? Why and?
Connect.
And there are many, why connect?
It's not complete.
Because it's
It's
one.
not complete. Why is it not complete? Because it is one reality. 2 steps. So whenever you have doubts, one of the way, there are different issues which may come up with Advaita. One issue is this one. You have to identify which step we are talking about. All is God. Oh, you should say mentally 2 steps. Step 2. I am not the body, not the mind. I am the witness consciousness. Tell me. Step 1. Sarvam khalvidam brahma.
Step 2.
Step 2. Shiva jnana jiva seva. Step 2. You have to know the jiva to be Shiva. Step 1. But serve all as Shiva. Step 2. Step 1 and 2 are both present. The divinity within man. Step 1. Oneness of all existence. That's an easy one. Step 2. You see. Good. This is what I wanted to transmit today. Yes.
Maharaj,
You tell me when we already run out of time. Anyway. As usual, yes.
Maharaj, when in Turiya all the appearances of waker, dreamer and deep sleeper come. So those are the drashtas.
Turiya is the only drashta.
Maharaj, so my confusion is, the moment Turiya becomes drashta, there should be a drishya. So we are already just taking the aspect of getting into action, we are already giving it non-duality.
Yeah, we are giving it duality.
Sorry, duality, yeah.
Yes.
So
But, yes.
the moment it becomes drashta, it has to be in one of these 3 states.
No.
Or-
Drashta, but its drashtritva is mithya. It
Then-
is a seer.
then
Because
that
by its
means-
very nature, but it's still non-dual because what it sees is not separate from itself. Like you can be a drashta. You are the drashta of your dream. But nothing in the dream is separate from you. So that in your dream non-duality is maintained. And yes, you have a drashta and drishya relationship.
Right.
Because the drishya is not separate from. The moment you say drishya is separate from the drashta, then duality comes in.
Correct. So the moment I'm saying drashta, the very identification, and if Turiya is the drashta, the moment it sees something, then
Yes.
it has to be something else. The
That's
second
what I'm saying.
starts.
The moment you see a dream,
So I'm already in a dream state, and,
Yes,
and
but
it appears in Turiya.
no, but even common sense, when you see people in a dream, are they something else?
No.
They are not. Even when you are seeing, moment you recognize a dream, you're still seeing, suppose, but you recognize it's a dream. Is it something else? No. Similarly, but yes, for Turiya to be a drashta, the Vishwa must manifest, world must manifest,
That's
and then Turiya acting as the Vishwa will see the world. True.
Yes.
In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Turiya cannot be a drashta.
Yes, that is what.
No world is there, no mind is shut down, body is not appearing, only consciousness by itself. No drashta there.
Nothing to be seen, nothing to be.
But
These
the
are-
beauty of Advaita is when there is something to be seen also, you recognize it as not to.
Appearance.
You are alone that. That is the beauty of Advaita. They are appearing, yet they are not real. And then Sadhu said in Gangotri, Dikta Savya Mahatma ji, hai kuch nahi.
अरे वाह.
All appears, it's not real in itself. That we are fooled into that. I've many times told the story. The TV story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maharaj, does liberation mean different in different philosophies?
I have a talk on that. It's called. I gave a talk on that. Moksha. You look it up. It was in Hollywood just a few weeks ago. They have put it on YouTube. Yes, certainly. Moksha means different things in different philosophy. Each Nyaya has an idea of moksha. Vaisheshika has an idea of moksha. Sankhya has an idea of moksha. Yoga and Sankhya both have similar ideas of moksha. Nyaya Vaisheshika similar idea of moksha. Then Purva Mimamsa has an idea of moksha. In Vedanta, Advaita idea of moksha is there, Advaita concept of moksha, which we are talking about. But there is Vishishta Advaita conception of moksha. There is Dvaita conception of moksha. So they have different conceptions of moksha. Buddhism has a different conception of nirvana. Different schools have different conceptions of nirvana in Buddhism. Jainism has different conception. They call it Kaivalya. No, they call it the becoming a jina. What is the Kevalin, the Kevala state. They call it Kevala. Look at the term itself. Kevala means alone, separate. So all these schools have different. And in Christianity you have conception of salvation. Every religion, every philosophy has its distinct idea about moksha. But you're looking confused and dissatisfied. But let it be. Let it be. Doesn't matter. Pick the one which is satisfying, but remember it's satisfying to your intellect. What it is finally we don't know. As long as suffering is removed in this life, you attain peace and joy. That is the common promise of all ideas of moksha. Sri Ramakrishna put it this way. Mat kichu na, mat path. Jatamat. But actually you will find in gospel mat path. Mat means opinion or faith. Path means path. Each faith is a path. And then he says, mat kichu na, the opinions or the faiths are not important in themselves. Then he says again, each statement is important. Akta ke dhore thakta. You must hold on to one. See, don't fight on it. There are many. Statement one. Don't fight about it. It's not important. And just because it's not important, don't dismiss it also. You have to hold on to one. Be sincere in something. There's a whole movement now. In a survey, which religion you belong to? Large number of young Americans are saying none. None means not the N-U-N none. It is N-O-N-E. None. I don't belong to anything. So are you not interested in religion? No, I am.
Spiritual.
Spiritual but not religious. SBNR. Large group.
Yes.
It's not bad, but do you have some kind of nishtha? You may not be belonging to, you may say, I don't want to belong to any organized religion, I don't like religion, fine. But do you have a particular spiritual practice which you are pursuing for your own liberation, for your own enlightenment, in whatever way you understand it? That is important. That's what Sri Ramakrishna stresses. You must ultimately do something about it.
Yeah.
Swami,
I'll come to you.
Maharaj, in your when coming to Bhakti Yoga, Maharaj, we do meditation on Ishvara, that is the
Ishtadevata. Ishtadevata.
Ishtadevata, that is the Ishvara, right?
That is Ishvara, Saguna Brahma.
That is the causal aspect of
Yes, of the entire cosmos.
Yes.
The one who is the creator, preserver, destroyer of the world.
Yes, Maharaj. But I am so identified with the waker
Mm.
identity. Why is Bhakti Yoga emphasizing to meditate on the causal aspect of why not Virat?
Virat also, but remember, ultimately Virat also disappears. The universe disappears for you when you fall asleep. Similarly, the entire Virat disappears in cosmic dissolution. When the universe will be dissolved, Virat aspect of Ishvara goes away. Hiranyagarbha aspect of Ishvara also goes away. Only Ishvara remains. That's why God, the causal aspect, is regarded actually as God in all religions, including Hinduism. You see, we keep speaking about Ishvara, Ishvara, Ishvara. Always Virat and Hiranyagarbha somehow given little lower status.
Right.
Because they are not eternal. They are at a subtle level, gross level. But the causal level, the furthest we can go is causal level, Ishvara.
That's why we keep it as a target.
Yes, because the only thing that you can practice, Nirguna, Nirakara, Brahma, Turiya, you cannot do anything about it. Can you? It we just saw. You can't see it, hear it, smell it, touch it, taste it, name it, meditate upon it, worship it. You can't do anything with it. Because it is the ground of everything that you do. When you try to do any of these things, I want to worship it, I want to do puja, I want to meditate, I want to understand it intellectually, then you are already down to the causal level, Saguna Brahma. Anything that you grasp, the highest conception, the furthest you can go, the highest conception you can have of the ultimate reality, that is Saguna Brahma. This one, Turiya, you can catch intuitively, Aham Brahmasmi. Not know it, or worship it, or meditate on it. The only way you can meditate, it is actually what you are meditating as Ishta Devata, as Ishvara, is nothing but Turiya with Maya Upadhi. It is the same thing.
It's more
tangible. This is the technology in which we can grasp Turiya, otherwise you cannot grasp Turiya.
Yes.
Remember, there are two things. Nirguna Brahman and your Ishta Devata. I am meditating on Krishna, Kali. Advaita, what does Advaita say? Will Advaita say you are wrong? You are being dualistic if you meditate on Ishta, Kali or Krishna. No, Advaita will say you are absolutely correct. Same Satchidananda Brahman. For meditation, you are giving it a name and form. Perfectly valid. You are not giving it a Superman, Batman name and form. That is the imagination of the author. There is a difference between Kalpana and Bhavana. That the yogis and mystics have experienced God in certain forms. And they have taught us to meditate on God in these forms. So that is the practice of Upasana Bhakti.
Is there a similar spiritual practice to go to the causal state of individual self?
How to go to causal states of individual? Can you tell me? There is a very easy practice. Deep sleep. But consciously if you want to go, then that is Nirvikalpa Samadhi is there. Not easy.
So Maharaj, what Nitya was talking about, meditation or bhakti yoga, that is similar to what you explained yesterday in the Mandukya Upanishad, the Om meditation.
Om meditation, the beginning Om meditation. Om is everything, the entire universe. Om eka aksharam, idagum sarvam. Idam sarvam means everything that you can see which you can experience with your senses. Where? In waking, dreaming, deep sleep. All this is Om. And past, present and future. All this is Om. And that which is beyond time, Trikala Atitam, that is also Om. So Om is also God. Now I meditate on Om. I chant Om and think of Om. That is meditation, bhavana. But what we did later on, U, Ma, A is waker, U is dreamer, Ma is deep sleeper. Meditating on that, the one consciousness which appears as them, that is Vedantic Nididhyasa. That's not Bhakti.
Swami, I saw your tape on the YouTube today on Om meditation. And I've got a question about it. So when you did Om, do you connect it with the breathing, like taking?
Need not.
You
Don't worry too much about it, because
Okay.
the Om meditation which we are doing, which is on YouTube, is Vedantic Nididhyasana. It is a Vedantic Advaitic meditation.
Mhm.
It is far beyond all this meditation, this breathing, that breathing. You see,
Okay.
this Vedantic meditation you're talking about, what are you talking about? It's not very clear to me. Then what they will say, all right, I understood the case. What you need to do is sit straight, keep the spine straight, and look like this. Close your eyes. And if you cannot keep your eyes closed in that way, or if you feel sleepy, concentrate on the tip of your nose. Then breathing. Breathe in 4 counts. Mentally. Hold the breath 16 counts, 16 ohms. And then release the breath 8 ohms. Not OHM. Then from the other nostril, the pranayama. Like this. And how many times you will do it? Then sit like this, concentrate on your heart, think of the form of Krishna in the lotus of your heart, smiling, blue color, peacock feather, the basuri, the flute, and radiant, joyful, and then repeat Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. How many times? 108 times. Mind is wandering here and there, bring it back. That will be prescribed.
Brilliant.
This is a spectrum of technologies. If at the what happened? At the top end, at the higher end of that spectrum, the subtlest is the Vedantic Nididhyasana we spoke about.
Okay.
Even that is prescribed for the student who did not get it by the teaching. The highest, the most fit student is supposed to become enlightened by just listening to the teaching of 7th mantra.
After Shravana directly.
Shramanat eva jnanam. And that's not happening. I have listened many times. Then what to do? Then we will show you the technique. Actually, basically, you saw the whole teaching of the Mandukya Upanishad is compressed into that Om meditation. So it helps you to rotate the teaching in your mind by chanting Om like that, till you get it. Suppose it is not working, then yoga will be prescribed. How to sit, how to breathe, how to concentrate, how to reduce the vrittis of your mind, make your mind one-pointed. Yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha, and that is too dry, boring. Then Krishna with his flute will be introduced. I still cannot concentrate. Then open your eyes. There will be a picture of Krishna in front of you. Still, then puja items will arise. Then bhoga will come. And that will keep on increasing more and more. Whatever is required to help you to focus. This is a whole spectrum. If you see, the beauty of it is magnificent. It's basically what our ancestors did for 5,000 years. They kept on inventing various technologies to help us get enlightenment. Step by step by step. If you stop at one point, just stop with Krishna. I don't want any of that samadhi and all of that. I love my Krishna. Dvaita.
Whereas naturally we have to progress, we have to go beyond.
What Advaita says
cannot be the goal.
But Advaita says catch hold of the highest. You are Brahman. Now be honest. Start where you are. What do I require? Am I selfish? Do I have impurities in my mind? Yes. Karma yoga is necessary. Prescribed treatment. Is my mind flickering? Do I have a concentration problem? Yes. Then dhyana yoga is prescribed. Japa, dhyana, all of these are prescribed. And Advaita, of course, will remove ignorance. So, time up? Yes. Just last question.
Swamiji, as conscious is only one, as a whole, why it is manifested individually, and how can we perceive like it's all the same? It's only one. It cannot be divided.
Answer that question yourself in the last one which you asked. What do you see divided? Bodies are divided. Bodies are different. Mind is also different. Thoughts, knowledge, experiences are different in different minds. But do you ever see consciousness different? As you begin to understand what Advaita means by consciousness, you will see it is one. It cannot be divided. It is one and shining through different minds and bodies. It's like asking, why there are, if sun is only one, why are there so many little suns in the different pots of water? Because there are different pots of their water is there, sun is reflected in that, that's why. Because of different appearances of Maya, consciousness functions through all these bodies and minds and immediately seems different. Gita says that it is one, but it seems different. Clearly it seems different. Why do we say consciousness? Automatically, when you say the consciousness is one, it comes as a surprise to us. Because we naturally tend to think, as there are different bodies, so there are different minds, so there are different consciousnesses also. Normally, we don't even distinguish between mind and consciousness. It's only Advaita which says one consciousness. Sankhya says many consciousnesses. Yoga philosophy says many consciousnesses. Advaita says one consciousness. Our problem is we are starting at the top.
So Maharaj, if I can share.
Yes.
So when you were talking about step 2, and that's when I had the question. So, and then you told that we are all thoughts, this body. So then it suddenly struck me what my dad used to say, Panchabhutas. We came from there. So basically I am consuming the plants. That is what I am. I am just a different form of it.
Correct.
So
I am, Advaita would say, the bodies are made of Panchabhuta.
Yeah.
Even mind is made of Panchabhuta.
Yeah.
But I am not the body mind.
Yeah.
But I am embodied in this, no doubt. Every bit of this is 5 bhutas. Entire world is Panchabhuta.
Yeah.
It is Akasha, Agni, Vayu, Apa and Prithvi. This is what the entire world is basically.
So just a starting point for me to understand the oneness.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, in Vedanta, sir, when we study this, when you go step by step back to that oneness, first step is to realize that entire universe is Panchabhuta only. This itself solves many problems. Death. Do we die then? If I am Panchabhuta, living body Panchabhuta, dead body also Panchabhuta.
Yeah.
Then no death. Immediately you become immortal. Hatred, love. What love, what hatred? It is one all are Panchabhuta only.
Yeah.
Already 80% of our problems are solved at that level. At least I didn't understand. Alright. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri